let's shift gears back here at home to Tyler. I was at Rose Stadium. 5-point win for Tyler over Legacy. I mean, the first quarter was loaded with plays. There was a 100-yard kickoff return. There was a 72-yard bomb for Legacy number 5. DeBrian Hood's his name. He had 2 long bomb catches. The ball was tipped. He caught it. I mentioned the 100-yard kickoff return. And there was like a 55-yard pass, deep pass from the general. I call him the general. You know, I don't want to call him the little general because then people start thinking about the insurance company. But the general, Caden Granberry. I mean, he's the little general, man. I'm just telling you. And he heaves that ball. When he has protection, he has time, he make damages. I refer to him as the general. I just didn't put the word LIL in front of it. But they had a good game tonight, and I want to see where they go from here. Or is it, and maybe it's just a case of they're both 0-1, and this game brought the best out of both of them. Because they go back to the grind next week, you know, they get the bragging rights. Now, what do you do with that bragging rights? So it was an entertaining game. It was a fun game. Because I just feel like when Legacy's doing well, when Legacy and or Tyler are doing well, I think East Texas, the visibility of it is even stronger because we have a 5A and or a 6A school really getting down because this is the hub of East Texas. So, you know, that's what I'm thinking about that game tonight. So we'll see where they are moving forward from tonight.
Well, and moving forward from tonight for one of those Tyler schools, you're talking about Tyler Legacy, who fall to 0-2 this season, and that's a tough way to start the year. Their path doesn't get any easier either. They get to face a Marshall team next week who I admit, after week 1, the way they took care of business against Tyler High, I was super high on this Marshall team, you know, to the point where I was almost convinced they might pull the upset on Longview. Well, Coach King and the Lobos quickly put that to bed with a 42-7 win over Marshall. I mean, I think that's a case of Marshall maybe catching Longview at the wrong time. Because the way that the Lobos played in week 1, you and I both know Coach King very well, and that was not acceptable Lobo football. So maybe Marshall caught Longview at the wrong time coming off a game like that. But shout out to the Lobos, man. They took care of business against Marshall, who I think is still a really good football team. And, you know, Tyler Legacy is going to have their hands full this week with Marshall. And, you know, if your Legacy starting off 0-2, you want to get off that schneid, get that first win of the year, but doesn't get any easier the further you go into the season. So going to be interested to see what Legacy can do next week against Marshall, and also looking at Marshall, interested to see what they could do bouncing back now after taking a loss, kind of maybe licking their wounds a little bit after that Longview loss. But that's going to be a good one next week between Marshall and Tyler Legacy, I bet. I think. I mean, there's a lot on the line in that game that could take you further on in the season.
Well, before we move on, let me add this to that point. When I saw the score in the second quarter being 0-0 with Longview and Marshall, I'm like, oh, you know, this what? And I think Marshall and Legacy are probably in the same competitive range, if you will. And I think that's going to be a competitive game, an entertaining game next week too. Because now the thing about Legacy, their quarterback, Zachary Davis, and LeBrian Hood, his quarterback, they've got something going here. They couldn't do this last week against Texas High. But, you know, I was talking to one of the local guys, media guys. He's like, the Hood kid was catching passes like that in spring ball like nobody's business. And so tonight, the big 56-yard catch, the 72-yard catch, they're going to want to do more of that. And I think Marshall is going to game plan for that. So this was a litmus test for Marshall, their loss to Longview. They kind of got, okay, we're going to go back to our room again and come back out when it's safe because Longview did what they did. Because I'm thinking, wow, this Longview-Marshall game all of a sudden has a whole different thing going about it, basing it off of last week. That's why you can't base stuff off of last Friday. First week, you just can't do it because teams are finding their way. And, you know, as far as me, I know the weather was kind of crazy, but Longview players probably thought, Lufkin? What? Hey, we got this. And so you're right, John King woke them up. All right.